Hey there, I'm an American who's been living in the Netherlands for a few months now, and since living here, I've realized that I've been becoming more and more Dutch.
Finally, some good fucking food.
But living in the Netherlands is starting to slowly change more and more of my daily habits. For example, in the US, I'll admit that I never really went out of my way to recycle. If there was a recycling bin when I was out somewhere, then sure, I'd try and recycle accordingly, but I never recycled in my own home. And this is mostly because I always read that in the US, most things that are recycled never actually get recycled. But in the Netherlands, they actually have a 78% recycling rate, and they're number 3 in Europe when it comes to recycling. And I think that's because they make it super easy here to recycle. For example, in my neighborhood, we have a separate bin for paper, a separate bin for compost, which is really awesome. And we also have a bin underground for waste. And this was super cool to me and totally new. I've never seen this before. And even the stores here have these really cool machines where you can return back your plastic bottles and get back the tax that you paid on them. And even when you're out and about in town, there will always be recycling bins next to the waste bin so that you can sort your things even when you're walking around, which I really never see in the US. And it's pretty great because I know that my items are actually being recycled and it's doing good for Earth, which is nice. So I easily average more than 10,000 steps a day while living in the Netherlands. And this is because in order to exist outside of your house, you have to walk or at least take some mode of public transportation, which will involve walking, or bike. In the US, if I wanted to go to the store to get some groceries, I would hop in my car, drive to the grocery store, get the groceries, walk a couple steps, and then drive back home and not have to do much in terms of walking at all. But here in the Netherlands, I don't have a car and I don't really need one. Walking around in the Netherlands is super easy, super accessible. And in the springtime, in the summertime, it's just beautiful. It's really nice to get out and see all of the flowers and all of the greenery. And they do a really good job at landscaping and just making sure that wherever you're going is going to look beautiful along the way. So the US is known for big warehouse-style grocery stores, and their main purpose is to help stock your house with essentials and big bulk items. But what I realized is that living as a single person, or even someone who just has a partner, you don't really utilize those big bulk items, and it just goes to waste. And it's not really cost effective to buy this way. And when you go to these big warehouse-style grocery stores, you're doing very big shops. And so you only need to go to the grocery store like once a week to pick up everything that you need for that whole week, and then you don't go again. But here in the Netherlands, I find myself going to the grocery store at least 3 to 4, maybe even 5 times a week. And it's really not a big deal here because the way that they've organized and planned their cities, mostly everyone should have a grocery store within 4 to 5 minutes walking distance from their house. And so my nearest grocery store is literally like a 3 to 4 minute walk, and it's super easy for me to just go there, pick something up for like the next day or two, and it really eliminates food waste. And so I've been loving it so far. Okay, so this one honestly did really frustrate me at first because in America, you expect businesses to deliver service with a sense of urgency and with a certain kind of customer service that it kind of makes you feel like you are important as a customer. It makes you feel like they value your business. But in the Netherlands, that sense of urgency is not really here.
You want to talk to my manager?
So in the US, if a business tells you that they're going to get something over to you, then you expect to have it within that day, within the next couple of hours, soon. But in the Netherlands, it's not like that at all. Yeah, it's just not a hectic working culture here. They don't have that same sense of urgency that we do in the US, and it does ultimately create a better, more relaxed atmosphere. But it does take some getting used to, and so I have definitely gotten used to it, and now I know that whenever I interact with a business, I just have to like chill out and give it a bit, it'll get done, and it's not going to be on like this super fast American timeline. Another thing that I've changed here is that I don't really get super glammed up to go out anymore. So because biking and walking everywhere is such a huge thing, you won't really see people wearing a lot of makeup or wearing extravagant outfits or even heels, because who wants to bike home in heels? That's awful. So the people here are pretty reserved when it comes to dressing up for a night out. That doesn't mean that they look sloppy at all. In fact, they look very put together, but it's just not going to be as extravagant as going out in the US. And so for me, I've really toned down the amount of makeup that I wear when going out. I don't wear my heels. I have like special boots that I can walk in, but that still look like heels, but that aren't going to hurt my legs when I'm biking or walking tons to get to my destination. So I don't think I've ever talked about it outside of this video, but Dutch people love to keep their window shades open. Basically how it is that most houses have a lot of windows facing the street. And so when their window shades are up, you can literally see everything that's going on in their house. And so this was so shocking to me. And when we first got here, I would keep our window shades closed. I was like, people aren't gonna be peeking in here, seeing what I'm doing. It like really freaked me out. But after being here and going through so many rainy days and days that just don't have sun, I welcome the sun when it comes. And so yeah, now I raise my window shades. I don't care. They are raised here. Yeah. I'm sure that you've heard that the weather in the Netherlands is crazy, and yes, it's crazy. One second it will be really sunny and warm, the next second it'll be raining and really windy. There might be some hail thrown in there, and when I was talking to a friend that's lived here for a couple of years, she told me to always have a just in case umbrella in my backpack. And that has been such sound advice that will carry you through the day in the Netherlands, because you just don't know when a random sun shower or a random hailing will come down on you. Something that's become quite normal to me is planning to hang out weeks in advance. So Dutch people, they don't really do impromptu hangouts. So if you want to hang out with someone, you're going to have to plan out your calendar. You're not going to be able to call them up the day before or even a couple days before to ask them to do something. The answer is almost always going to be no, and that they'll have to check their calendar to plan it in the future. So yeah, I've gotten really used to doing that as well. In the US, if I wanted to travel to a different country, my closest options would be Canada and Mexico. But if I wanted to go to these countries, it wouldn't just be a simple day trip, and it would definitely not be impromptu. I would be planning it out for quite a while. But here in the Netherlands, it's quite common for people to just plan impromptu trips to different countries. For example, France, Paris is only a 3-hour train ride from Amsterdam. To go to the UK is only an hour flight from Amsterdam. And something that really shocked me is that a lot of people will even live in Germany or Belgium and commute to work or school in the Netherlands. And that's just not something that's typical in the US. And I had to really get used to the idea that I can just hop over to another country very easily. And that's something that's super cool about living here. Okay, but that's all I have for today's video. I hope you all liked it, and I would love to see you in the comments below. Yeah, let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.